it just comes down to the person and what you want to do and what you can do, and it's not, oh, I can't carry this because I'm a girl, or like I can't be on the grill because it's too hot for me.
Welcome to another episode of the Dabao Show. In this series, days off, we follow a guest from the F&B industry on their day off to see what they get up to, have a meal with them, have a bit of tea, and maybe spill a bit as well. For today, our guest is Angie, the executive chef of Asador.
I am Angelina and I'm the executive chef of Asador. So on my off days, you can find me at Paraphrase drinking highballs. Okay lah, correct one.
Let's go Paraphrase and drink highball. So sweet. So how did you start your culinary journey?
Technically in secondary school, I already knew that I wanted to be a chef.
Home econs?
Yeah, home econs. But honestly, I did so badly in school. So then my L1, R4 was like what? A massive failure. So it's like 20 something. Then I tried and apply for TP, the culinary course, because that was the only like reputable one back then. Then I didn't get in. So all of my choices, I didn't get any of it because I did so badly. So I got IT in RP. Then I was damn sad lah. Then I was devastated. I was like, oh my god, what am I going to do with my life? Yeah. Then I explored like Shark Tank, Sunrise and all.
Yeah.
But my dad was like, ultimately he still wanted me to go to poly lah.
Yeah.
So I went to appeal. I went to appeal to TP. And then I went for interview. Then I got in lah.
Oh.
Fucking lucky.
I didn't know this story.
Yeah.
she skipped the good part. She only gave me the
So I went out to work at this. So that was my first
real job.
Full-time job.
Yeah.
I mean, during TP you got your internship and everything. Yeah. But I started work at this Italian restaurant at Katong. It was a very small space, like just 3 people. But I really learned a lot. I mean, that was like super fun for me. So like I didn't just do pastry. I learned how to make pasta. And I didn't want to leave actually. But then my dad was like, no, if you want to stay in this industry, you need to get a degree. Both my parents are teachers, so they were a bit like strict about the whole education system and everything. I couldn't study properly. I don't know why. So my GPA was like what, 2.4. And then like to get into like CIA degree and everything, you need to like at least get like a bit higher lah. But in all honesty, over time it got a lot better lah. I actually enjoyed CIA. People can argue, it's like, is it worth it or not? But then at the end of the day, I think it did very well for me in the aspect that like I got to work overseas. I got to experience that, got to gain a lot of exposure. So it all turned out pretty well in the end. So thankfully for my dad, I guess.
Do you think you're a hot side or cold side chef?
I've always done pastry lah. That's why I started off there. I started off as a
pastry chef.
In TP, I prefer doing pastry. You get like, there's like Asian cuisine, Western, and then like pastry, and then you touch a bit of each thing. And I realized that I actually enjoyed it lah. So I have always been more a pastry person than a hot side chef.
Not based on anything lah, but my view is that there tend to be more females involved in pastry than males. Do you agree on that?
Maybe to a certain extent.
I always feel that more male chefs tend to flock toward doing hot side.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, I think now it's a bit more diverse, where like you get both a good amount of like male and females doing both hot and pastry. But maybe last time, it was a bit more like females dominated the pastry scene a bit more. There was always the question where like, you go to restaurants, and after people like, they look at the pastry and they're like, oh, it's quite cool and stuff. Then you're like, hey, why you never consider doing pastry? And then they're like, oh no, it's too much finesse, it's too much like attention to detail, and I don't think I can do that, or like, oh, my hands aren't cut out for that kind of thing. So I mean, that was always the reasoning behind why they didn't want to. But I think now a lot more people have explored that route and been a lot more open to it.
In that sense, like, are there any stigmas? I mean, like what we talk about, females are better in pastries, or like male is better in the hot side. Do you think like this stigma is still relevant to this day or whatsoever?
Not anymore.
Because we have seen male pastry chefs, female head chefs.
100%, yeah. Now it's a bit more apparent than last time. I think last time it was more like, males should be in the kitchen. I mean, we've always grown up with that kind of thing where like, the woman should stay at home, be in the kitchen and everything, and people who want to be in the kitchen outside in restaurants, it should be the males. But like, I think now it's a bit more diverse lah. You know, that like both people can do everything. I mean, now you see like what, female head chefs winning like 50 bears and stuff like that. Males doing pastry and like and actually dominating that. And I think it's nice to see that there's both. It's become, people are actually growing, you know, and being a bit more open to not looking at like the sex when it comes to like, oh, who should be doing this and who should be doing that.
I guess we have sort of come to a conclusion that in Singapore's terms, there's a sort of equality where it comes down to male and female, where it comes down to restaurant owner or even a chef, head chef, pastry, can be male, can be female, it doesn't matter. It's like what is it, by choice of what people choose to want to work or study as it is, and then become to that position where it is.
It has become a bit more broad termed. It's not really too much about like best female pastry chef or whatever. It's been now it's more like best pastry chef, so it can be either male, female, or whatever.
Recognized as a whole.
Yeah, and even like restaurants and stuff like that. It's not like this place is run by a male chef, so it's better in any aspect, you know. So it's pretty much become a bit more equal now, where people don't look at gender anymore. It's more like you get recognized for your talents as opposed to that. So I think that shows quite a bit of growth in this industry as well, and people are recognizing you for what you can do and what you bring to the table, as opposed to whether or not you can take the heat or not.
When we worked as colleagues back then, it wasn't much about the question of gender or whatnot. It was just about whether you can do it. It's not about no gender or no like preference, that kind of thing.
It's more about also like mutual respect among everyone in the kitchen. I do want to believe that it's heading to the direction of like it being a bit more cooperative and it being a bit more like a conducive environment for people to grow in. It's never been like, oh, you walk in the doors and like you are female and I don't feel like you can take the heat and stuff, then you are just thrown to like gamanje or like pastry. You know, like people actually come in and there was one person that was actually a girl on the grill alone, and like she was badass at it lah, you know. And it was never like oh, I feel like I need to prove myself, that sort of thing. It was more like everyone just helps each other, and I think there was a very nice environment for people to grow in.
I have to say though, like there are certain departments or areas that can be quite physically demanding or whatnot, but I think it's to the individual to decide whether they want to do it.
Yeah,
because I could say like for grill, right, you could be like standing on the fire every day, right? But for bakery, right, you could be dealing with 25 kilo of flour every day. You know, it's also the same thing. No one can say like one's heavier than the other.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. It just comes down to the person and what you want to do and what you can do, and it's not very much about like, oh, I can't carry this because I'm a girl, or like I can't be on the grill because it's too hot for me.
So on this note, what do you think were the struggles you faced or any difficulties that you have like encountered to get to this role that you are currently have now?
No, I think it's more like a personal thing for me, because it's more like I need to prove to myself that I can do it. So I mean, like throughout my entire career, it's been more pastry focused. So to rise to where I am right now, it's more like not say proving to people, but like proving to myself that I can lead a team and I can do more than just pastry. As you rise through the ranks, it's more like it becomes lesser about cooking and more about like being able to manage people and
because
all the like back end stuff,
which I think is
great.
People don't realize like you start off as just cooking and start wanting to cook, but then as you go up the ranks, you realize like it's more than that, because you need to manage a team.
Back then, you're given like creativity and freedom to like create things and like do dishes and stuff, but then you don't realize the amount of stuff that you have to think about when you actually create a dish, which I think is something that I'm very grateful I got to learn. So when I was promoted to head, then it's like all the back end stuff I had to learn. So things like costing and like the ingredient procurement and stuff like that, and like talking to different suppliers to see what you can get and what's the best price you can get it at and stuff like that. It was an eye-opening experience, to say the least, because like you don't really think about things when you start out, when you're at a junior level, because you are eager and like you just want to like put out things and like you want to make a name for yourself and like you want to be creative and like come up with a dish lah, you know. But then when it comes to when you get higher up the ranks, then all these things you need to think about. You cannot just anyhow like throw things on a dish that you feel work together or you feel like you want to put. You need to think about like how to put a recipe together, because you need people to execute the consistency that you.
Exactly. So it's about training and coaching and even like
and
making simplifying
yeah, it's
things.
about like thinking about a lot of things as opposed to just coming up with a dish like that. Things like costing is so important because you need to know how much your dish actually costs, and then only then can you know how much to actually price a dish. These are all the little things that I am actually very grateful I got to learn and that people actually were willing to teach along the way. I actually do enjoy this part of it, so as much as it takes it away from cooking and like coming up with dishes and everything, it's good to learn both ends of things lah. As for the executive chef thing, it's like I said, it's more like a personal thing for me to prove that I can do it, because now it becomes not only about me creating a menu that would highlight and showcase like the best of what this restaurant can put out. It's also about like managing the people behind it and making them execute the dishes to where or what you want it to be. Obviously a bit daunting because it's big roles to step up to. Like last time as head chef, there was always like a safety blanket. There's like with the exec chef above and stuff like that. But now it's just me reporting directly to the chef owner. So there's a lot more added pressure as well.
Yeah. I think a while back you already told me that your end goal is to like have a bakery or ice cream shop. Are we still looking at the same goal that you set for yourself?
I don't think anything has really changed. I would want a pretty intimate like space to just sell like baked goods and pastry, and then maybe incorporate like a soft serve machine into it. So that's how I get like the best of both worlds, you know what I mean?
And then just sell until you retire.
Yeah, sell until I retire.
Then highballs on weekends. Lacto pills every day because she can't eat ice cream apparently without the pills.
Lactose intolerant problems, but I still love my ice cream, so.
Open an ice cream shop need eat lactose pill. And don't eat veggie also. So no bread, no butter.
Yeah, bread no veg.
Focaccia no tomato.
Focaccia tomato okay. Yeah. And I can eat ice cream, you know this. I just need to eat my pill every single time. Every single time.
She can tell people she's on the pill.
Life is tough.